Life is beautiful, guys! I finally played a perfect game at the Vigevano tournament, round number 4. I was paired against a guy from Switzerland, and on this round, I played probably one of my best game ever. Izila was 15-16, another low-rated opponent. Let's see what's happened. I was black, he played d4, I played e6, d4, d5. Finally, the French defense. There are several ways to play this position. He can play 5, he can play knight c3, he can play knight d2, he can take, he can play every move that he wants. He decided to take, so he takes d5 and he takes d5. Bishop d3 is a normal move for white in this position because white want a castle as fast as possible, and I play the bishop on d6. He played knight f3 for the reason that I told you, and if you follow me online, you know that in this position, I usually play h6 because I don't want to allow to my opponent to play the bishop on g5 attacking my queen. Stockfish don't like this move, but for me was super easy. He played the bishop on e3, I played the knight on e7, e castle, and in this position I didn't castle, I prefer to play c6, defending the pawn on d5, and opening also everything for me, everything is fine. So he decided to play the same move, c3, from his side, and in this position I castle. He developed the knight, the last knight that he needed to be developed, so he played knight bd2, and I played the knight on g6. Knight g6 seems a strange move because you can say maybe white can take and black can take, and he has double pawns on the castle, but everything is fine because I can play the queen on f6 and try to attack on this file because in a moment white has to play something like rook e1, so the only defender is the bishop, and okay, is more like a pawn right now than a bishop. So what's happened? After knight g6, my opponent played queen c2, he didn't took my knight, he played just the queen on c2, and I played my queen on f6, because for the same reason, if he takes, now I have the queen here. But he didn't took, and he played the rook on e1. And I said in this position, okay, his problem is rook in this position. Why? Because as you can see, he cannot move this rook. And that's why, in this position, I play knight a6, because I said, okay, if he take, I can take, I double another pawn, but I can play something like this for going to d3, attack the rook, and I consider that like a good plan, to be honest. But he didn't took my knight, he decided to play a3, and I continue with bishop on d7. He played queen on b3, and here he needed to be careful because I played knight on c7, and he could take this pawn for free, but if he takes, he can lose the queen, because I moved my rook on b8, and now queen is trapped. He cannot play the queen here because now controlling the square. He cannot move the queen on his file because the rook is controlling this file. He cannot also take here because the bishop can take the queen for free. So there was a trap, and unfortunately he didn't fall into the trap. He just played a4, and I just played b6. Queen went back on c2, and I played my knight on e6 because now I will replace the knight well. I started to play, for example, the knight on f4, try to attack the bishop, and for that reason, he decided to take my knight on g6. So f take on g6, same situation. Now finally I open the file, so everything was fine for me. He decided to play the knight on e5. That's a normal move because I can take, but everything was fine because, for example, if I take, like what's happened during the game, and he takes, if I play this move, he can, for example, can take this pawn and attack my queen, and he go back with the bishop with no problems. So was not what I wanted to play, and that's why I didn't took this pawn, and I just play the queen on f5. Fortunately, my opponent decided to trade the queens, and I play my pawn on f5, and now, as you can see, I have no double pawns. So he played f4, and in this situation, I just thought that maybe I needed to find a way to trap his bishop because he can't move on this diagonal. Only diagonal that he can move is this one, but 1, 2 squares is not possible, 3 also because I can take back. So that's why I played c5. I played c5 and he played b3 because my other move was bishop take a4. So I needed to defend the pawn on a4. I continued playing d4. Only move for my opponent was take, take, and go back on f2. But in this situation, I could take the pawn, but it was not so good because he could take back and he could attack my knight and I need to go back. And the situation was equal probably. So that's why I prefer to play rook c8 because I want to take the control of the file. He made the only mistake that he did during the entire game. He played the rook on c1, and in this situation, I finally could take this pawn. Because if he take the pawn, like I told you before, now I can take on c1, and if he take back, I can jump on e2 easily, double or triple attack his pieces, and I can win easily this game. So after knight takes f4, he played rook takes c8, I took back again, and he played the knight on c4, stopping my rook to control the file. But everything was fine anyway, because I played the bishop on e6, stopping the pawn on the file, attacked the knight, so I felt super well during this game. He played the rook on e1. Easy move for me was knight d3, attack the rook and attack also the bishop. And that's why after he played the rook on e2, I just took, and after take this one, he played a move because he was focused on promote this pawn, because, okay, it's easy to promote this pawn, but I have a crazy way to win this game, because after e6, I just played the rook on c1 and he resigned. Why resign? Because he need to stop the check. He can do the same with the bishop or the rook here. If he play, for example, the bishop here, I can take. He need to go here. I can go back. He cannot push because I can stop the promotion, and I can win easily because I was a piece up. The same if he play rook here, take, exactly the same situation, and I could win the game easily. So I won. I played a super good game. I hope you enjoyed seeing this video. If you like the game, like this video, follow the channel, and let's see what's happened around number 5.